This is the Bush Whisperer coming at you from the beautiful Water's Edge Beach. Just been watching the sunrise. It's gorgeous. Next to the Penguin Sanctuary, boulders. Improvising. Sometimes things don't go according to plan. Sometimes life can be obtuse. Sometimes we get offered opportunities and we can't see the opportunities because we're too busy thinking about what it was that we thought we wanted, or our perceived goals, or our expectations. This is one of those events for myself. I got to this beach and it's as busy as a bus station, proverbially speaking. Normally it's very quiet. It's just my son and myself. A few of the locals that are regulars. But there's obviously a big group of tourists here from somewhere else in South Africa. And they're obviously staying here and they're on the beach because it's weekend. You can hear the kids in the background playing. One of my community members' families brought their kids. My boy is playing with them. Sometimes life will just force us to have to adapt. The ability to adapt is this improvising state of mind that we need to learn to be able to exist in. We need to learn to be able to flow with circumstances. Not be locked in, not be tight, not be rigid. Water flows, water moves, water adapts to the circumstances. Air is in a constant state of movement. It's dancing. Fire adapts. It adapts to the shifts. It adapts to what's happening in terms of the fuel being provided, the wood, the flowing air, oxygen. It's very important for us not to become rigid and crystallized in our attitudes so that we can remain open to the universe, open to ourselves, open to the great expanse. Allow ourselves to be able to broaden our horizons and to be able to look within, find what is the creative impulse and flow with it. The creative intelligence is fundamental to developing one's inner abilities and one's intuition. If the creative intelligence becomes rigid, one starts to become lost. One starts to become confused. And the structure of being can become constricting. One can find the ones lacking air, the proverbial air to breathe. Life can get stuffy. This is the situation for many people on Earth. And so it is in life. We've got to learn to adapt. And the best time to learn to adapt is now. And that is the spirit of creative intelligence. Allowing the impulse to flow with us. To flow with us deep down. And so improvising becomes the key to being able to enjoy life. Because if you're always improvising, you're always adapting, you're always looking for what you can flow with, and allowing yourself to be following the path of least resistance. For when we're not adapting, we're resisting. And when we're resisting, we're stuck. So improvising is developed by the practice of art, drawing, dancing, music, singing, poetry. These will all develop the ability to improvise, especially if you're doing it from within. The best way to do it is to just do it. Don't have a structure. Don't try and do anything. Don't be concerned about the outcome. It's like I always used to say to people that music, for me when I channel it, whoa, I'm improvising on the rocks. It's a little bit of a slope. I always say that music for me is the excrement of my spiritual practice. That I would enter into a meditative state and allow the consciousness to flow through me. And it's so beautiful, yeah, I can't tell you. And what came out musically, lyrically, in terms of the notes and the tonality and the rhythm, was just what I was feeling. And it was always interesting that depending on who was around me, the message and nature of the music would change profoundly. So I always used to enjoy playing music in the presence of other people, because I would channel something completely different. And so being able to adapt is being able to become like a mirror, reflecting your surroundings in a sense. And being able to reflect your surroundings is what the path of water does. Water does this in the most profound ways. It's not stuck. It's always following the path of least resistance towards balancing out the forces of gravity in order to permeate, in order to dissolve, in order to create a uniform substrate. And this uniform substrate we could consider inside as a state of equanimity and a state of integrity that is touching all things, in harmony with all aspects of life, in harmony with all aspects of being. Excuse me, I must be careful not to fall over the rocks. If I improvise too much, I might improvise onto my nose, onto my face. If you see me kiss the camera, you'll know why. So life is what it is. And I couldn't make my video at my usual spot. Well, I was on the beach and I wasn't going to leave the beach right now. And I thought, well, what better time to make a video? Improvise. Test yourself. Take yourself beyond your own limitations. Life should be always about transcending limitations, in my opinion. From a shamanic perspective, shaman are all about transcending the limitations, about testing the model, about going deep, creating a sense of balance through the rhythm, and allowing the rhythm to carry oneself beyond one's boundaries, beyond one's limitations of flesh, time, space, consciousness, expectation, allowing the expression of the dance to transcend the limitations of time and space right now. This is how the shaman is able to create fundamental changes within. And those fundamental changes within radiate and become the fundamental changes in the world around us. We could call this the art of magic, the art of manifestation. So manifestation and changing oneself, changing reality, has got a lot to do with improvising. This is something that we've forgotten. This is the school of the thought of evocation. There are different paths towards creating changes in the world and oneself. Invocation is a way. But the shaman is very much concerned with the evocative path. And the evocative path is basically the expression of exactly what we're talking about here, improvisation, and the creative intelligence finding its expression so that one is able to move with time, move with space, and allow space and time to conform around oneself as one moves with it. Now there's a little bit of a almost contradiction in terms, you could say. And there's something interesting in this. To understand that when we're moving with time and space, we're able to transform time and space. And that's something quite fundamental to understand. The nature of this reality is twofold. It's an expression of what we're taking into ourselves. Because we're taking into ourselves that which is expressed. And so the expression becomes an impression. Smash a like button and share this video so that others get access to it, so we can work the algorithms. I did a wonderful video about exactly what we're talking about here. It's in this series 2, season 2 as well. Better take a careful step across this gap between rocks. And yeah, don't forget to allow yourself to test your limits. A great way to experience this is being naked. Spend time in your home naked. Experience what it's like to feel naked, because when you're feeling naked, you're closest to your integrity, you're closest to your expression, you're closest to your natural state. There's my little boy calling me. You're closest to your impulse. You're closest to the way that you can find and express your creative intelligence in the most balanced and harmonious way. And so this should be our path of life. And getting in tune with your creative intelligence is also getting in tune with the deepest aspect of yourself that is going to express who you are. For who you are is truly an expression of creative intelligence, if you look right at it. So keep it real. Keep it true. Allow that which is within you to be expressed through the aspects of yourself. Don't leave yourself behind. Life is short. Life is what you make it. And as you progress along the spiritual path, you'll realize that it becomes easier to just be yourself. And the more you are being yourself, the closer you are to your creative expression. the creative intelligence will use you and work through you. And the impulse will become an expression. And the expression will be the embodiment of the impulse. And you will find that by and by you'll become yourself more and more. The fears you thought you had socially or around other people will dissolve, because you'll stop caring what other people think. There'll be something more fundamental at work. This is the Bush Whisperer sharing some beautiful thoughts with you about the creative intelligence, the creative impulse. Just let go and be, and allow that creative impulse to flow through you. Have an absolutely awesome day, and don't forget, adapt, improvise, that's life. Om Shanti.